I was thinking here's 2020 and I'm still lacing up shoes. Again, how long does it take to pour the concrete for a goddamn sidewalk? They got the street port too sweet. I'm still waiting for the goddamn sidewalk. That's Dallas walkability for your ass. Looks like I missed out on a hell of a storm. I like to see automated lights. I'm actually getting rained on. Can you believe this shit? Just because I type in Dallas weather, it tells me everything's clear. I'm looking around and I got lightning. I got something brewing here, not quite sure what it is. thinking I'll never know what house was here before. But I can always check Google Maps. Like, I'm not worried about, I got the goggles on, so I'll be fine there. My camera's about to get soaked. I have to start carrying duct tape in my fanny pack. To make a quick waterproof cover out of duct tape for my GoPro. Oh well, this is all moot, because next week, or not that next week, but end of this week, I'm getting a new GoPro. So, tried to save me some money on a newer camera, and the one I got, it just sucks. Look! I knew it. I knew it was coming. I can feel it in the air, man. It was warm. It's nasty. This is tornado weather. I knew it, man. God damn it. I was like, this is how it was last year when that sucker hit. And I said to myself, I said, when the next one happens, I bet you I'll be walking. So where did it touch down at, you think? I don't know, I guess we'll find out when the debris hits. Alright, we had a touchdown. Time to find out where. This phone's coming in handy now. You think any of these rich folks can give you shelter? Hell no. I'm on my own. Better find a ditch to go lie in. Alright. Well, we know it's not hitting. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, the whole thing fell apart. Oh, fuck it. That's a cheap ass phone, too. Okay, touchdown. Tornado warning. It's hit, and it is located. I don't know where it touched down. Guess I better find out. So we had a touchdown, but where? What is this? Because sometimes a touchdown just means that it was a circular pattern. Hard to do this without gloves. All right. Oh, it's the wrong one. Today's a good day to die. Say, why is my password not working? For some reason my password's not working. I know my password. Alright, National Weather Service, what are you telling me? It hit. Great, that tells me absolutely nothing. Arlington. Next 23 minutes. Arlington, Texas. Okay. Alright. So it's headed this way. Okay, so hope my sister's okay. Alright. Looks like pretty much yourself. Huh? What's... Yeah, I heard. Do you mind if I come up to your door? Hello? Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Some nice people gave me shelter. Doctor that worked at Parkland of all things. We started talking and we were just like, he knows all the stuff I know. All the different systems that we use. We had a touchdown in Arlington, hit 30, dissipated. I wanted to finish my walk, but my mom said, come home. And I was like, if I don't, she's going to worry and she's going to be sitting at the cops out after me. So I'm cutting this one short today. How many steps I got in? 4,000. They didn't have to do that, and in fact none of their neighbors would have. But I could have finished my walk. I could still finish my walk. However, it's just so unpredictable. Like when I started, it said it was clear sky. It was clear in 70. And I came out here and I felt that warm air. And I said, I just know that this is going to be like it was last year. And I can still finish this. You're not going to finish it, Going home. You're going home. I was like, what are you doing out here? And I was like, I was walking. You think it'd have killed you? Oh, easily. See, where I'm headed, that is where the tornado would have been hitting. It would have hit right over here. It would have washed down Northwest Highway. And the way it would have gotten me is I would have just been exiting right now. I'd be off of Park Lane. No, excuse me, I'd be off of Meadowbrook. I'd just be finishing the turn, coming down Northwest Highway, and then blam, that's where it would have got me. What would have killed me? Well, like you said, there's so many different ways you can die. I could have got electrocuted. I could have got crushed. More than likely, I think it would have been a headshot. Well, nah, I think I'd have been, well, I think it would have got my camera. I think a piece of debris would have hit me right in the skull and just took me right out. So I think that's my gambling pool. Shrapnel in the skull. Of course, just my luck, I wouldn't die. I'd actually survive the goddamn thing. Next thing you know. I'm a vegetable, or maybe I turn out like Harrison Ford regarding Henry. I was a mean bastard before, and then after the accident, I become this. I become this jolly, mentally impaired fellow. But I guess what embarrasses me the most is she had absolutely no reason to help me. And when I went up to that house, I had my arms up, my hands up. I wanted to make sure that and she was just looking at me like, why are you doing all that? And I was like, well, in today's political climate, basically I'm always acting like I'm at war. It is weird, I didn't have to go knocking on the door, she just invited me in. And she was worried, and I wasn't. I was just like, you know, we had this hit and it had that, and I was like, we'll be fine. I told her, I said to her, I said, I would have just stayed out there, and I was like, if the tornado would have come, I'd just jumped in the ditch. They just looked at me. Because that was the old advice I used to get I've been studying tornadoes. I've been studying tornadoes since I was a little kid. I've been fascinated by them. You know, I remember I used to read about the tri-state tornado. This one that hit Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Killed a lot of people, like over 300 people. And it was just a system of storms that would just turn into these multiple tornadoes. And it was so big that the multiple tornadoes merged into one big giant one. I'd see photos of pieces of straw blown through trees. When I say straw, I mean like hail. Like it's not hail, like hay. And the hay just gets blown into the tree. like, they gave me their names, and I was just like, I mean, that's the Southern hospitality that people talk about. But I'm always on guard. I'm always on guard as to what might happen as a black man in a prominent white neighborhood. You know, they were really sweet people. And if you want to know what their political affiliation was, it looked like they were center right. Because there was a George Bush doll in there, and I was like, oh. We didn't get to talking about politics. The whole time we talked about, we're both on both sides of the aisle, and we talked about how much we hate. How much we kind of hate. I wish there was a medical database. The problem is you have all these different medical systems, and they all have different types of ways that they process the data. And so you have hospitals that can't even share data effectively about a patient that might have get transferred there. We have hospital transfers that happen and I talk about this stuff, and it's not secrets or anything, it's just, this is common knowledge. And you got different companies making this stuff, and there's no standard. One company might have you under a number. One company might have you under a hash. One company might not even obscure that. They just, all your information's out there in plain text. But the thing he told me about that kind of upset me the most was, you know, I don't want to say this on camera because my livelihood depends on it. But the bottom line is that, no, I will talk about it. A doctor could keep notes on his patient about the medications that he's dispensing, treatment that he was doing, all the stuff that he has to do for billing, and not only that, but for medical purposes. And all that goes into the EMR. And if the doctor wants to access his own notes, he has to pay a fee for that. If the doctor's doing medical research, he has to pay the fee to access the medical research. Meanwhile, the company that he puts all that EMR into can take that data, anonymize it, and then sell it off to pharmaceutical and medical companies and other medical companies and make a fortune. They're making money both ways. It was kind of a trip. Like, he was almost wanting to say, you know, I don't think socialism is the answer either. Because the problem with having the government in charge of everything is that the government's only as good as the system. But I am in favor of nationalizing a lot of things. I think utilities need to be nationalized, and I think healthcare needs to be nationalized. I think there's some things that you try to do for profit, they gum up the works. Because then you get everybody's idiosyncrasies in there. You get the greed and the backstabbing and the... Not everything has to come down to dollars and cents, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. That's my political biases. I'm not saying I don't want to, you know, everyone thinks socialism, they think the worst things. They think of some banana republic in Latin America where the strong man sits there, and that's not socialism. That is fascism masquerading as socialism and communism. Real communism doesn't exist anywhere on the earth. Real socialism kind of really doesn't exist. As funny how everyone talks bad about socialism, or not everybody, but they talk bad about socialism. And then make statements like, keep your hands off of Medicare. And I'm like, well, which one is it? Getting political again? You can't help but not get political. Like I said, I know what makes sense. I'm a man who lives quite well in a nationalistic system. I mean, I support IT, and my favorite operating system to use is technically a nationalized operating system. I use Linux, which was started in academia. Government, research institutions, very much part of the bureaucracy. And it's a decent operating system. Superior to Windows, I believe. Give me an idea. I run a virtual machine in Windows. And to run that virtual machine in Windows, just to run it okay, I have to give it 4 gigs of RAM and about 2 processors. And that's for it to run okay, not great, okay. I've got this nestled inside of my host operating system, which is Ubuntu. And the Windows virtual machine takes more resources than the host PC that I'm using. The host PC that I'm using can run in a dual core processor with about 2 gigs of RAM. Half that, and it'll run decently. How do they do it? The process management is a whole lot better in Linux than it is in Windows. That's why people use it on the server end. Everything is a series of discrete processes, not tied together by some central registry or task manager. Like, in fact, the task manager likely borrows from proc and Linux and Unix. What do you know about Dallas? Even the reddest of people in this city are purple. This is a purple city. You know, it's not, where did I go off like that? Whoa. Oh my God. I might be dying. That was weird. Felt lightheaded for a second there. Oh well. Good way to go. I wasn't talking and doing this at the same time. That was weird. Chest pains yesterday. Lightheadedness today. Anything it could be. Low blood sugar. Maybe it's COVID. God, I hope I didn't give that poor cup. I mean, I wore my mask the whole time, but the problem is, it's the wrong kind of mask. I should have asked her, can I got the mask with the vents on it. I'm protected, but they might not have been. Well, I'll just continue to monitor that. Anyway, the only reason I brought up purple and red and blue and all that other stuff was I got off tangent. They were a nice couple. Nobody had to provide me any shelter. You know, when they found my corpse, they could have just said, why'd that dumbass son of a bitch go out there? And I was like, I don't know. Because I looked at the weather report, like everyone else looked at it. And I even said that to them, and they said, yeah. They said, the weather guy said, it's like everything was cleared. And then, whew. But you see, I knew it was coming. probably why I was lightheaded, not breathing. I knew it was coming because I could feel it in the air. It's nasty, it was humid. The wind was swirling around really heavy. I said, this is ripe for tornadic activity. And as I kept walking, as I hit the French Exchange House over there on Park Lane, and that rain started coming, I said, shit. And I heard, that's when I said, I knew it. I'd have been okay. They kept going. No, you wouldn't. Because there's just no way of knowing where it's coming from. And I'm looking at this stupid track phone. By the way, never go with that company again. Maybe it's not the track phone. Maybe it's who makes it. My battery just gets drained. And I think I'm just going to have to break down and change the phone to a Motorola. How many steps we got in? 5,200 and whatever. She said, boy, you better come home. I was like, yes, man. The doctor said, right on. I had me kind of laughing. I was like, I know what you were doing in the 70s. Real nice guy. Man, he had to be. And that's what really got me worried going in that house. I was perfectly happy just staying out on the porch, maybe looking at my phone. It's like, no, come inside, come inside. She was real nice to me, and but her husband, I was engaged with him talking. She looked kind of worried, and he's like, he wasn't worried at all, neither was I. I'd rather not say the last name of the family, out of respect for privacy. I have to edit her out too. I don't think they care. Cool people though. I'm always talking bad about the folks that live in these neighborhoods. That's my ignorance showing. I honestly don't know. Said I've lost trust a long time ago. It's not hard to do. But so many people trying to scam me out of money. Tell me which way is up and down. And then I got the news media, and that's I guess that's really the main thing. They're telling me I have to run around here, walk on eggshells. And I still do. Good default setting I have. Not all the cops are bad. As many of you have seen on this channel, I think they were kind of concerned about me. I have a saying that I keep saying, and you think I would listen to myself. Things aren't as bad as they seem, nor as good as you'd like them to be. But that first part is the key. Things aren't as bad as they seem. It's bad, but it's manageable in most situations. This COVID thing that we got going on is manageable. The problem is there's a lot of people that aren't letting the management happen. I say a lot of people, but I mean Trump. Trump is basically not allowing the management. He wants to do the management. I'm not going to say anything too bad about the guy, because I don't know him. I don't even know if I can believe everything that I, hearing the stories. I just know that every single time that, in my lifetime, every time a Republican has been in charge, disasters seem like they're worse handled. So if you don't particularly care, like if you care about disaster management, you don't put a Republican in charge. What about a war? I think both sides are pretty bad at that. I don't think anybody's good at war. If you want to use World War II as the measuring stick, but when you start deep diving into the history of World War II, there was a lot of mismanagement. Companies, like Howard Hughes comes to mind, getting paid to develop planes for the military and producing a lot of failures. Weird deals where one company would be given like a monopoly over wartime production, and knowing that they were overcharging the government not caring because at least it was getting taken care of. Man, what's wrong with me? Tired, number one. Sat down and talked to that couple. And right now you're talking the whole time while you got this mask on. That was weird though, man. I was like, it wasn't like I was gonna pass out, but I got woozy. Talking about the Unix, and then I switched over saying that Dallas is a purple city. And it is. Everybody looks at both sides and they say, you're right about this, you're right about that. You're wrong about this, you're wrong about that. If Republicans would just let the abortion thing go, they'd probably get more votes. If the Republicans were to cut the religious right, I think they would do okay. There's gonna be another one, isn't there? It's cold now, somehow. That storm system lost its energy. Like I said, I'm kind of cold out here, so I think we'll be okay. Fortunately, I can't smell anything through the mask. Otherwise, I definitely would have known the tornado was coming. All I can go on was my sense of feel. The jackassery never stops. They looked at me and they said, I said, boy, Waymasher is crazy. You got the camera and the phone and the... And I was, no, she's like, I'm gonna go get some tap lights in case we lose power. And I was like, well, ma'am, I got a light here. And I showed her my backup light. I'm really glad I'm not armed, though. I mean, I got pepper spray, but I'm glad I don't have a gun. I know that sounds weird as a guy who owns a gun, but my whole problem is even if I was trained to know how to use it, which I will get that eventually, being armed just creates so many more problems in this civilian space. went up to that lady, I had my arms up and everything. I don't know what was, I didn't know. I didn't know she was armed. I didn't know she was talking to me. It sounded like she was talking to someone on the phone. And I was like, ma'am, are you talking to me? And she says, well, yeah, I was just wondering if, there's a tornado going on. I was like, yes, ma'am, I know. I saw the cell phone. She said, well, come in here, come in here. And I was like, at first I thought it was racism, but then I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, there's COVID going on. I was like, ma'am, I can't go in your house. She's like, don't worry about that. And I was like, okay. She knows I'm safe. I told her, I said, look, I work at UT Southwestern. I'm in the hospital. I got 2 elderly parents too, though. They were old. They look like they're about the same age as my parents, actually. I never want to put anybody through that again. They were nice to me, but I really didn't want to put them in that danger. I feel bad about that. I mean, I think I'm okay, but I don't know. That's the problem with not, well, once again, other countries, they nationalize this stuff. It's like the disaster strikes and everybody stops talking, except for the guys who are supposed to handle the disaster. And I wish we could have done. I wish testing would have been ready. And even testing's ready now, and I just wish that it would have been. I go to work. They test me. They just test me on a regular basis. Like, look, once a week you're going to go in there and get swabbed. I'm like, okay. And they come back and they tell me, hey, your test came back positive. You need to quarantine for X amount of days. Who were you in contact with? I start rattling off names. That's how we handle it. Instead, I'm doing temperature checks and questions. Been around anybody with COVID? No. You have COVID symptoms? No. That's all I go on. And I go up to the thermal thing that always tells me that I'm cold. I've never been, the whole time I put my arm up to that thing, I've never been 98.7. I get weird readings like 96, mostly 97 though. I'm a cold man. A cold man with a low pulse. What do you think caused the lightheadedness? I didn't eat any sugar before I started this. I should have. Usually I pop a couple of mint or a couple of peppermints, and I drink something with caffeine in it. I've been doing that for the last month and a half. Because frankly, exercising with this mask takes a lot out of me. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get to do 6. But, according to this, I got in 3.5 miles. Almost 4. Jackass. You'd be like, where were you? And I was like, I'm telling you, I'm a mile and a half away from home. What part of that do you not understand? It's going to take me some time to get back. All these people got their Christmas lights decked out. Yeah, they were really, really nice people. That's all I can really say. I didn't know how that was going to turn out. I have to start like I've with the recent stuff that's gone on with the news reporting on racism. I've had to kind of like go back to the Jim Crow days and see how blacks handled that. And as always, And like I said, I keep telling people I have to execute the half as black protocols. Don't bring too much attention to yourself. Don't make any grand gestures. Say yes sir, no sir. Keep your head low, avoid eye contact. You know, being in a subservient position. Some of the stuff I look at, and I'm like, y'all really had to do this? Yeah. And I was looking at the laws. I was like, this rule is stupid. I was like, how did even the white people thought it was stupid, and they were following. They were the ones in charge. Like, sane and rational people thought these rules were stupid, and they were just coddling the other group of folks that happen to have the guns and everything else. And that's the thing that bugs me about America, is that it seems like it's always been in the hands of extremists for far too long a period. So I was in their house, and it was being really nice. And like I said, when the husband found out I wasn't a threat, he wasn't apprehensive or anything. He was just real nice, real nice. But when he found out, like he went from the fake niceness to the real niceness. How do I explain it? I mean, they were real nice, real nice, but it was more like, I'm nice, but I'm apprehensive because I don't know who you are. And I was like, I'm not, and I was doing the same thing. I'm nice and I'm apprehensive because I don't know who you are. And then when he found out who I was, he wanted to talk to me like I was an old friend. We were just, and then I'm trying to leave, and he's still telling me about Parkland. I said, yeah, man, I don't know. I wanted to ask him more questions about. He said he worked in anesthesiology. Right off the bat, man, I just take my interest because that's what we've been working on, trying to get the workstations to do a certain thing. And I was trying to see if they were having the same problems we were having. I think they use a different system. They went with the one company, we went with the other one. I used to talk bad about guys. I was like, they just picked some guy who knew their brother-in-law, or they went to a lunch or something. And it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You do the best you can with all the information you're given. It's like, well, these are the number one guys. Well, they're the number one guys because you know, they paid to be the number one guys. They got lobbyists over there like I said, like Epic or Hyperspace. And I forgot to mention that the whole time. I didn't want to get political, but I didn't want to mention that. He already knew that. About how Epic did a lobbying job and they wrote most of the EMR laws that are on the books. So of course they're going to have a piece of software that follows all those guidelines. They wrote the guidelines. And then as I'm talking to him, I realize I know a little bit too much about EMR. Like, I'm in a state where I know just enough to be dangerous. Oh man, what's the likelihood, man, that I meet someone else who's in the medical field? So what are you thinking? All these people I'm talking bad about work at the hospital. They work all in the medical area. That's who lives here. That's who can afford to live here. The doctors and the paid faculty. I'm hanging on because I'm legacy. Like I said, I'm not on the good side of Marsh. Home shit home. All right, well, I'm back.